Bibia yeti ensem foforo ewo omomu Ghana meso so be stay tuned to your channel be like be commenting na chese wa share videos ni ede ama ye need to say John Dramani Mahama chese on na current president elect on the 7th ye dey ni ABC so na chese pashe wa starting ni juma pa o say oba obeye ede ama Ghana fo na currently the ensem a abeto emonte so efa some appointees John Dramani Mahama ayiyi wo mu ehonsem ena yedibi ebedomu meso so be stating na chese yebo apinche sem na yakotie enkofoku a John Dramani Mahama ayi wo mu se one won ebeye adwuma ewo omamu Ghana ebi
intense lobbying we understand is taking place within the National Democratic Congress as President-elect John Dramani Mahama prepares to put together his government, which will be sworn in on the 7th of January 2025. Ahead of this, Akosia Ochre Channel 1 News' reporter has been looking at how his next government is going to look like and has this to report.
We will put in place a robust code of conduct and standards for all government officials in line with the principles of ethical leadership, modesty, humility, integrity, and accountability. We will nominate all our cabinet ministers for parliamentary approval within the first 14 days in office. We would have named all our cabinet ministers. We will constitute the leanest and most efficient government in the history of the Fourth Republic in the first 90 days in office.
With January 7th rapidly approaching and just 14 days after the official swearing in of John Mahama as president, the big task ahead is the selection of his ministers. As promised, John Mahama has committed to appointing only 60 ministers. Already, some major figures have emerged as strong contenders for key roles in the second Mahama administration. Julius Deborah, a former chief of staff in Mahama's first term and currently serving as a chairman of the transition team, is widely expected to return to the role. Julius Deborah, who has been described as the mastermind behind Mahama's comeback, is seen as the right person to oversee the office of the president and ensure smooth operations within the executive. Dr. Valerie Sawyer, who served as Deputy Chief of Staff during Mahama's first term, is another name likely to be reappointed to her previous post. Her return to the role would bring continuity to the administration's internal affairs. For the energy sector, 45-year-old MP for Yape Kuso, John Jinapo, is likely to be tapped for the position of Minister in charge of energy. Some believe his experience in the sector and his record in holding government accountable makes him more competent for the job. Quite a number of individuals are being tipped to become the #1 lawyer of the land, the Attorney General, Marietta Biru, Mahama Ayariga, Dominic Ayine, Eduji Tameklo, and Thaddeus Sori. The Elembele MP, Imano Amakofibua, is also expected to be named Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Perhaps the most anticipated appointment is that of the Minister of Finance. The minority leader in Parliament, Dr. Kesalato Forsing, is a leading contender for the role. He is a well-regarded economist, has a deep understanding of fiscal policy, and is known for his analytical skills. Or former governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Abdul Nashiru Isaku, may also be given the role as finance minister, while Mona Korte is expected to serve as deputy finance minister, though some sources also speculate that Isaac Adongo, an economist and outspoken critic of government financial policies, may be brought in as the economic maguire. The role of Minister for Foreign Affairs is also crucial in Mahama's second term, and Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the MP for North Tongue, is expected to be appointed. For Communications Minister, the role is likely to go to Felix Kwachi Ofosu, a former Deputy Communications Minister. Alternatively, Sam Nati George, the MP for Ningo Pram Pram, who is also known for his eloquent communication, may be given the role as Communications Minister. In the tourism sector, Jifa Gomashi, a former Deputy Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, is expected to return to the ministry. Alternatively, ace musician Rex Omar may be given the role for his passion for arts and culture. following his understanding of the creative industry. The Youth and Sports Ministry is a crucial department with multiple potential appointees. Dr. Randy Abe, Neelanti Vanderpoy, and Edemagbana have all been mentioned as possible candidates for the role, each bringing different strengths to the position. Already, some of these individuals have begun lobbying.
Become the Minister of Sports in 2025, I will sanitize sports, GL. I will sanitize football once again. I'm not happy with what is going on. I'm not happy. There are so many things wrong with our football. And unless we take bold steps to sanitize the system and take decisions that will inure to the benefit of the people who are doing football and the footballers, and not businessmen and Shylocks, football will not grow. I've been a footballer before. I've been a sportsman before. I will fight against anybody who desire to exploit any sportsman.
As we approach the swearing-in ceremony on January 7, all eyes will be on the president-elect's choices of appointments, which will set a tone for his administration and determine the direction Ghana takes over the next 4 years. A few have proposed to John Mahama to consider appointing some members outside his government.
This whole winner-takes-all syndrome, which has been associated with partisanship, I think is also not helping our country, because we don't have the benefit of harvesting and mobilizing the collective talent of all Ghanaians, and we should not be divided in that regard by our different political ideologies. I think that also need to change. Thirdly, also, the lack of continuity of government projects, which again is the result of this partisanship, has also cost our nation quite a bit of money, and I think that also has to change. So I would really like, very respectfully, you to consider this whole development paradigm of how you build a government of national unity.
With just a day to the inauguration of President-elect John Dramani Mahama, rigorous preparations are underway to ensure a smooth transition. Channel 1 News' Ejubi Wiafe Akenten has a wrap of activities that are happening and has this to report.
On January 7, 2025, the inauguration of President-elect John Dramani Mahama will take place on these grounds, the Black Star Square here in Accra. And it is key to note that this process and ceremony is also a parliamentary sitting, and as such, the right arrangements must be put in place for a smooth transition. I'm currently on the grounds where the entire ceremony would be taking place. This quadrangle has been secluded from the entire Black Star Square for security reasons, and for persons who would be allowed into the space, they would need to show an invitation. The grounds has been designated into various zones: Zone A, Zone B, Zone C, and they have been giving some color allocations: the red segment, the yellow segment, the green segment, and the black segment behind me. We're going to speak to the production designer for the ceremony, and he is going to give us an overview of the sitting arrangements for the inauguration.
So on the yellow section, it's going to have the president-elect, the vice president-elect, the chief justice, and the speaker in the middle of a yellow section. And then below them, you're going to have the clerk of parliament set up over there, because this is parliament, really, you know. Then to their right is going to be the spouses of the presidents and other dignitaries, and then to the left of them is going to be the days for all the invited presidents that are coming for the ceremony. So that's for the yellow section. Now, when we go on to the red section, it's going to be all the invited guests that are coming to the inauguration, and I can't say who exactly is in there right now, but that's where those areas are demarcated for. Same for the green section that we see that's been put up. Then we go to the black section, and that's going to be for all the 76 parliamentarians that are going to be there. Also start in the middle portions, but onto their left and right are going to be their spouses.
This particular spot in the middle, the red one, what would it be for specifically?
That's where the swearing in is going to happen. I mean, I know in the past, I think it was pretty much further away, but this time they want it closer so that he doesn't have to do a long walk. The president-elect doesn't have to do a long walk, so that's what that's going to be for. That's a swearing-in section of that side.
Now let's talk about the outside parts of this quadrangle, because I see that you are putting a barricade around this place to create some sort of segmentation. Why really?
Well, the thing is, all this, I mean, you know, in parliament there's rules and you've got to stick to the rules. So it's not that everyone who can just come into the parliamentary floor. So everyone beyond the barricades that we've positioned is going to be all those people sitting in the stands are just for the general public. They can be there and they can watch, I mean, be part of the show. But if